To give you a better understanding of the components of the pricing program, I'm going to work through a very, very simple example and just do it step by step and show you how it works. Now, this is obviously a single room just in carpet tile. I'll bring up the pricing program, and you can see there it is. And what I'm going to do in this example is to just put things in completely manually. Bear in mind that as we go along, and once you've got a better understanding of this, there are ways of doing it in a far quicker way. But this is just to show you how it works. So against the single item of material, we now have to add components in. So again, going manually, I'm going to add component. I'm going to put in carpet tile, and I'll leave cost center for now. We come to quantity string, and what this is this allows you to pull out the figures from Calidus. So the gross here is going to pull out 1,464 square feet, which, if you can see back up here, is the gross area for that material. So if I put in a price here, let's just put in any old number. So now we've got a price. Now what we need to do is install it. So what we might put in is installation, and I'm going to base that on the net. And I'm going to say that's 0.2 per square foot. Now what you might do is to say installation based on the net plus 5%. So you can add percentages onto these irrespective of the waste factors that are in Calidus. So if I bring in, say, the gross area here, it will bring in that gross area and add 5% to that. Let's go back to the net, and let's add another component. We'll put in some adhesive, and I've based that purely on net, and I'm going to call that 1.1. So here what we have are three components building up this carpet tile. So we've got the tile itself, 2 units per square foot, the installation 1.2, adhesive 1.1. They combine with the quantity to give us a cost price. So that's what it's going to cost us to get or provide those things, to actually get hold of them. So that cost is totaled up down here at 6,240, and we apply a markup to it. Now this markup can be done in one of two ways. You can either apply a markup to the whole project and just have everything marked up by these figures. So you could have 10 items, and if you change this markup here, they would all be updated. If you've got one where you want to specifically change a markup on an individual item, you can step in here and alter it. But for the time being, I'm just going to stick with this 20% level up here, which I've just put in for example's sake. So we have the total cost marked up by 20%, gives us the total sale, which gives us the profit. Now up here, you can see that we've got the cost price, the sales price, the profit, and the profit margin. And the profit margin is only 16%. Now that's for a reason, because the markup is added on to the cost. So when we have the cost figures here, we are adding 20% on. But this final profit is taken as a proportion of the sales price. So it's the profit divided by the sales price. So in effect, of the money that you get from the client, 16.6% will be profit, assuming all the costs work out as envisaged. A quick note about the currency that's used within the system. It isn't really assumed as a currency, it's just a unit. So if you're in America, this would be $2. If you're in the UK, it would be £2. And what that means is it's just these prices and what have you are just whatever units you're working in. So if you make that, if you're in the UK, that would be pounds, you put that in. So the only time the currency actually comes into play is when you print off a quotation, and then it will have the currency symbol on there. But as long as you know what currency you're dealing with, you're fine. The units that come in here can't be changed. So this is square feet, because what this is saying is that Calidus is telling us that the quantity is 1,464 square feet. If you want to change these units, what you'd have to do is to go back into Calidus and change it from imperial to metric, or from square feet to square yards, and then come back in. And again, you'd have to change your rates, because obviously if you're going from square feet to square yards, you're going to want a much higher unit cost. But the units themselves are really being pulled in from Calidus itself. And that brings us on to the line item rate. So this carpet tile here is the material that's brought in from Calidus, and we've got a cost price down here, a sales price down here. So that's what the customer will have to pay you to have this installed. If you need to provide a rate to the customer, so in the UK, commercially, quite often what we have to say is that clients aren't interested in the amount of waste. They're not interested in that. They want to know if the room is 100 square meters, they want to know what the rate is for 100 square meters. So what you have to do is to take the entire sales price and divide it by the net floor area. If you wanted it to be just to say, well, we're providing so many square yards, square feet, and it's so much a square feet, you can switch that to gross here. And you can see if you're going off the gross area, the rate drops to 5.11 per square foot. If you go into the net, it goes at a higher rate. So if you're just doing a lump sum quotation, the customer just wants to know how much everything is going to cost. This is not important. But when you're providing quotations based on rates per square foot or per square yard, square meter, then that will come into play. If we go back over here to the cost center, this allows us to put all these costs. At the moment, all we've got is just one load of costs for a job. But for example, if I come down into here and I put in LAB for labour, what we'll see is something springs into life here, which is that we're able to show that 28% of the job is labour, 72% is other things. So you can put down here, I'll put in product, and here we can put in accessories. And so we've got a way of breaking down the costs. At a minimum, it's useful to identify installation as being labour cost centre, because this allows you, first of all, to balance out how much of the job is labour costs that you have to pay individual workers to do the job, as opposed to materials for the installation. And the other thing is, in some regions, certainly in the States, labour and non-labour will have possibly different tax rates, possibly different markups. So it allows you to split the costs up and handle them separately. This other pie chart over here, at the moment, is empty because there's only one product, but you'll see in a bit when we go into a multiple item installation, this will start giving you a breakdown of the sales.